The deadliest weapons from every time period.
Here are the deadliest weapons from every time period in history.
Well, deadliest weapon in the UK right now in this time period is a knife, but...
The Stone Age.
Okay,
Back
Stone
when
Age.
humans still slept in caves, the options for
Was it
killing each
bones?
other weren't quite as exciting as they are today. For most of the Stone Age, your best weapon was just that. A stone.
A rock.
They were surprisingly effective. Just one hard hit with a rock is more than enough to crack a human skull like an egg.
Oh, that's
They
brutal,
also weren't
man.
too bad from a distance either. Thunk. Eventually, someone had the brilliant idea to put a sharpened stone on the end of a stick and call
Wait, yo, is that why, like, back in the day, the humans or whatever they called, like, the people, their heads was way bigger because they needed to defend themselves from the stone attacks? Is that why?
the brilliant idea to put a sharpened stone on the end of a stick and call it a spear.
Oh, yeah,
Then,
spears.
some 70,000 years ago, one guy was like, man, I hate that guy over there, but he's too far away to stab him with a spear or even throw a rock at
Bow
him.
and arrow!
Ha! You missed.
Yo, imagine being the first person ever to create a bow and arrow. Like, you're literally the first person and only person that can, like, you've got a weapon that can shoot at a distance. Like, you must be, like, the most popular person on the planet. The first person to create a bow and arrow.
Ugh. Simple weapons like these were literally all that we had for most of our history as a species. But as civilizations around the world expanded, weapons were forced to become more advanced. The Bronze Age. Take, for example, the macuahuitl, an
The
ancient
what?
weapon used by the Aztec civilization in Central America.
Mate, that looks like some sort of spanking tool. That's a weapon?
This weapon combined the best parts of a wooden club and a dozen small daggers, with sharp obsidian blades on the sides
Oh,
that
they're
were there
blades.
just to make sure the Aztecs' enemies could never survive the wounds this weapon inflicted.
Oh, what? That's
Though we all
mad.
know how that ended up going.
That's
A
mad.
less effective melee weapon with a much cooler story is the trident. It was primarily used for fishing. How exciting. But it also got some action in the Roman Colosseum as the primary weapon of a type of gladiator called a retiarius. A retiarius was traditionally equipped with a trident, a small dagger, and a fishing net, and they would have
Wait, so what? He's a gladiator, but he's going fishing. Why has he literally got fishing gear?
little to no armor or even clothing. They'd be pitted against fighters with much more armor than them and use their speed and agility to dodge their enemies' attacks and try to tangle them in their net, while simultaneously trying to stab them with their trident. The trident typically only left small, non-fatal wounds so as to make the fight last longer for the entertainment of the audience. In any case, the most prevalent weapons in use
Yo,
during...
you know what? Like, watching history, yeah. Like, humans are brutal, bro. Like, imagine aliens getting a TV show on humans. We're literally sat there watching each other fight each other for entertainment. And we still do it today. UFC, boxing. And do you know what? It's great. I love it. Bring back the Colosseum.
The Bronze Age had to have been slings, swords and spears of various types, including the Egyptian khopesh, as well as the shield. While useful in hand-to-hand combat, they were even better when
just
used in an
animals,
army
yeah.
formation, such as the phalanx. Every soldier stood shoulder to shoulder as they advanced, completely unstoppable. These sorts of
Spartans.
weapons were all well and good for fights between individuals or armies, but less
Wait. What is going on here? Is this the fight to chop off the titties? Like, why have they got a dress, but the top part is down? And her sword is going to poke the boob. What is this? God knows what it is.
These sorts of weapons were
God
all well
knows.
and good for fights between individuals or armies,
Medieval
but less
boob
effective
job.
at taking on the well-fortified castles common to the next period, the Middle Ages. Necessity is the mother of invention, and when the necessity is breaking into a palace and mercilessly slaughtering all your enemies, the inventions are siege weapons. Huge machines usually operated by multiple soldiers that were great at tearing down the dreams of kings. There were so many types of siege weapons that I can't cover them all in this one video, so I'll just go over my favorites. The siege hook was a large device that could be used to literally just pull a wall down by grabbing it and yanking it away.
Okay, that's
Effective
handy.
and very simple, 4 stars. The trebuchet was a device invented in ancient China. Larger and more deadly than a catapult, it could throw a stone weighing 200 pounds to a distance of up to 275 meters, or almost 3 football fields. Very terrifying, 5 stars. The ballista was basically a giant, really destructive crossbow. The crossbow is already cool, and making it bigger is a good idea in my eyes. 5 stars.
Jesus, mate.
The battering ram was a log held by a bunch of soldiers that they would use to repeatedly hit walls and gates until they broke.
Nah, the thing is though, like, this is crazy. Because if you got put on this job back in the day in the Middle Ages, you pretty much are sacrificing your life. Because the amount of shows and that where we see, they get taken out so quick. They get bow and arrowed whilst they're trying to break down the door. They get fire dropped on them. All sorts, mate. Hell not doing this job.
How can you even call this a weapon? It may have been effective, but consider how annoying it would have been to use. Imagine the splinters in your skin, the smell of wood irritating your eyes, and the pain if you all dropped it on their poor little toes. 0 stars. My channel is still small enough that I can easily read and reply to every comment I get, so please, let me know your favorite siege weapon in the comments. While technologies like this made armies more formidable on land, other civilizations were busy developing weapons to fight their enemies approaching from the sea. Introducing Greek fire. This was a sticky mixture that could be ignited and burned for hours.
Wait, they had flamethrowers back in the Middle Ages?
Even when placed on water, making it incredibly dangerous for your average seafaring warmonger.
Yo!
Roman sailors would spray this flaming mixture onto their enemies' ships through tubes, or load it into hand grenades before tossing them aboard their opponents' vessels.
They had grenades?
Greek fire was so effective that the Byzantine Empire couldn't afford to let their enemies discover the recipe to create it, and so it became a closely guarded secret. Even today, we don't know exactly how it was manufactured, but it's generally believed to be similar to a modern flammable liquid called napalm. We've come to a point in history.
Wait. How are you just gonna casually go by that? You're telling me back then, in the Middle Ages, they had napalm? They pretty much had napalm bombs. What?
Where we can begin to discuss the invention of the weapon that fundamentally altered how wars were fought and changed our existence as a species forever. This weapon is the gun.
Okay, you know when I said earlier, imagine the first person ever with a bow and arrow? Imagine the first person with a gun. Like, you know what? Like, if I was the person that invented the gun, I would literally only make one and keep it for myself and take over the whole entire planet. If you're the only person in... Actually, no. Because you can still get attacked. Like, if you got 20,000 bow and arrows coming your way, it don't matter what gun you got, you're done. Yeah, bad idea. I would make so many guns just for my army. Oh, wait, that's probably what they did. But then probably... yeah. Never mind. Yeah, no, it's just a cool idea having it first.
Modern guns are unreasonably effective at killing people. Just ask any American third grader, they'll tell you.
Yo!
In the year 950, the ancient Chinese decided to put a tube of gunpowder on the end of a traditional spear. When ignited, the tube would spray fire from one end at the attacker's victim. Eventually, they added debris and pellets to the gunpowder, which would also be ejected from the tube.
What the?
This is the fire lance.
Wait. They had a gun shooting spear with fire? Oh, that's badass. That is badass.
And it's basically a spear, a flamethrower, and the world's first gun, all in one weapon.
Holy shit.
Personally, I would hate to be on the receiving end of this thing. This time period set the stage for a new level of innovation and cruelty in the creation of weapons. The goal was no longer just to kill your enemies, it was to do it in the quickest, most destructive way possible, causing unimaginable pain and suffering so that anyone else would be too scared to fight you.
Damn.
As history shows, this sort of thing would only get worse. World Wars. World War I completely changed how our species approached violent conflict. The Industrial Revolution had just concluded a few decades ago, and humanity had so many new
Yo, do you know what's crazy, chat? In 50 years' time, 100 years' time, 500 years' time, bro, they're gonna look at our guns like how we look at spears today. Like, genuinely, chat, it's gonna be crazy. They're gonna be like, in 500 years' time, oh yeah, we got fucking teleportation laser beams that go light speed with Terminators coming out. Like some random AI robot I don't even know, bro. Something we can't even fathom. And then they're watching a YouTube video or robot video, but they're not even watching it. It's implanted in their brain because they're all robots. They're going, oh my God, humans back then was using nukes and guns? Oh, what fucking cavemen.
Technologies to try out for the purpose of killing. The soldiers of the First World War saw huge advancements in machine guns and grenades, as well as the invention of tanks and warplanes, which took the fighting to the skies. But these are not the most horrifying weapons used during this time. No, not by a long shot.
What was?
Imagine you're a soldier in the trenches. You haven't seen any action for a few days now, and you and your fellow combatants are relaxed. You take turns keeping watch, but there's been no enemy activity to report. Suddenly, however, your watchman calls for your attention. An enormous cloud of yellowish-brown smoke is on the horizon, being blown towards you by the wind at an alarming speed. You're a trained fighter, so normally you wouldn't be scared, but in this case, there is no enemy to shoot at. Your only chance is to run from this new horror, and run you do. It's not enough.
Oh shit.
You are enveloped by the gas completely, and your skin begins to blister as your eyes swell shut. Breathing becomes excruciatingly painful, and you are screaming. So are your fellow soldiers, shocked and disoriented. If any of you somehow make it out of this cloud of mustard gas, you could remain alive suffering the effects for weeks.
Wait, chat, who used mustard gas then? I didn't know mustard gas. Like, I think I heard of some type of gas being used in world wars, but I didn't really know, like, to what extent. Both sides. Oh, everyone did? Wait, really? Everyone did.
Swollen lungs, blistered skin, vomiting, and blindness, before you finally succumb to death. Gas attacks of many varieties were used by both sides in World War I, but none were quite so horrifying as mustard gas. Eventually, international treaty laws would ban the use of toxic gas in combat, as the effects were seen as too inhumane.
Yo, do you know what blows my mind? Is the fact that, like, they tried banning it. Did any country use it in World War II? Chat? Like, or did they stick to the fact that, like, it's banned and didn't use it? No? They didn't use it? That don't make sense. That don't make sense. Because if I was in charge of a country and I'm literally going at war with the world, right? You really think I'm going to follow the fucking rules? No. I'm dropping mustard gas everywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why do countries follow the rules when they go into war? You're in war already. That's the worst it gets. No, I don't get it, bro. I don't get it.
In a war that took the lives of 20 million people,
oh my
God. Saying something. World War I was truly the war sanctions? To end all wars, until it wasn't anymore, when a certain Austrian painter decided he wanted to do some pretty terrible things. Poisonous gases were still used, of course, though in slightly different contexts.
Oh.
Like any other war, World War II started, it was fought for a while, countless people died screaming, and then it was over. The way this war concluded, however,
well, I don't think it was that briefly, but
is fundamentally different from any other war fought before or since. Here is the story of the final weapon.
The nuke. Here we go. I'm still telling you, bro, you're calling this the final weapon? Yeah, and this is badass? Bro, in 100 years' time, they're laughing at this. They're laughing at this. They're literally going to have Star Wars Death Stars literally destroying planets. I'm telling you. It's the final weapon for now. Yeah, wait till November 2027. Alien motherships coming.
The Allies and the Axis powers were in an arms race. Both of them were trying to use recently discovered nuclear technology in order to make a bomb. The final bomb. A bomb so big and destructive the other side of the war would have no choice but to surrender. When an element known as uranium-235 is compressed sufficiently, it triggers an atomic chain reaction, creating exponential amounts of energy, and thus an enormous explosion. The Americans were the first to figure out how to apply this to a bomb, and not without many scientists and researchers dying to make it happen.
Wow.
Little Boy, the code name for the first nuclear bomb to be used in war, weighed over 9,000 pounds, and was dropped over the Japanese city
Not
of
really
Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. Tens of thousands of civilians died in the initial explosion, and countless more died of radiation sickness afterwards. World War II officially ended less than a month later. No matter how impressive your tiny mustache is, you can't fight an enemy that can rain horrifying death upon you from the sky. Unless, of course, you can rain it right back on them. Countries around the world entered a nuclear arms race to create the biggest, most destructive bombs possible. It was quickly discovered that the process of nuclear fusion, as opposed to fission, was more effective. This is the same process that occurs in the cores of stars, constantly for billions of years, recreated for a fraction of a second on Earth. The most powerful explosive to ever be created by humanity was called the Tsar Bomba, created by the Soviet Union and tested on October 30th, 1961. The devastating death cloud created by this explosion was 67 kilometers high, or about as tall as 8 Mount Everests stacked on top of each other. The nuclear bomb in all its terrifying forms is, hopefully, the last weapon humanity will ever need. There is no defense against it.
Wait. This is not gonna be... This is not the final boss, bro. I'm telling you right now, this is not the final boss.
Besides the fear that your enemy will retaliate with its own bombs, and thus no further developments are really necessary. Perhaps with this final nightmare, it's time for humanity as a species to move on, to stop killing each other and start doing something actually productive and meaningful.
What,
such as hitting that
marshmallows?
Subscribe button.
Nah, it's never gonna happen, bro. It's never gonna happen. Like, it's in our DNA. It's literally in our DNA. Until we find aliens and we can be at war as a planet, war will always be a thing, unfortunately.